granny put your teeth in your pocket. Lead Lap Radio powered by HMS Motorsport. The leader in motorsport safety starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Lead Lap Radio. We are live on both the Performance Motorsports Network and our Race Chaser Media Facebook Live. My name is Tom Baker. I am joined inside the Race Chaser studio by Jacob Seelman, Randy Miller, and our special guest for the evening. He gets to come back. The reason why he's back is because he won something. and it's about doggone time, Chase Caber. You finally got it done in the K&M Pro East Series. We're going to talk to you in a minute about that. Chris Murdoch also behind the glass over in the tech shed, punching all the right buttons, doing double duty. He's the master multitasker, producing both audio and video tonight. And, of course, we have all of you listening to us live, and we appreciate that as well. The show brought to you, as always, by our good friends at HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety. Chase Caber, you had plenty of safety over the weekend. You found your way all the way to victory lane. Congratulations, getting it done in Memphis.
Yeah, it felt good. It's been a long time coming. We've had a string of second places here lately. Second at Bristol. We were running really good at New Smyrna at the beginning of the year. Second at South Boston, and it's about doggone time we come home with a win. It's been a long time coming, like I said, and we've put a lot of time into getting there, and a lot of good things have been happening lately, and I think it's a testament to that. That's why we're on top.
I think Memphis owed you one after last year too, didn't it?
Yeah, we've had a lot of good luck there, a lot of good runs, 2 top fives and 2 starts there before this weekend, a second and a fourth. Ruben won there last year, and I was able to bring the trophy back home to Rev Racing for a second year.
Well, you seem to like Memphis, Tennessee. You've been fast there every time you've been there. What is it about that track that seems to fit your style of driving, sir?
It's technical. The track is really worn out, bumpy. You got to hit your marks lap after lap, and I think a little bit of my dirt background comes in a lot at that place because, when you're running dirt, the line could be this wide, super narrow, and if you get to a point that you miss that line, you might lose 3-4 spots. Well, this place is kind of similar, although you don't lose 3 to 4 spots. You might only lose a spot or two or a tenth or two, but it's really line sensitive, and you got to hit the right exact line at every single lap to be fast, and I think that really plays into my favor, being that very experienced at that racetrack and have a lot of laps around there. So I definitely think that helps in the long run, and was able to, like I said, bring home a win. And Ruben as well. He's really good there. Had a little bit of bad luck in the race, but I think experience is key for that place.
How big was it for you guys as far as a program with Rev Racing? I mean, you picked up a milestone victory for them, win number 20 for the team since they came into the K&M Pro Series East.
Yeah, it's awesome. They were really pumped up. We went to the shop today and went and got lunch, and every day I walk in, there's banners on the wall, and I look up and get to see my brother's banner and pray for the day that I get to put mine on the wall. And finally was able to get a win, and I can't wait to climb up on the forklift and hang that thing and smile.
I was going to ask you if it got there yet.
Yeah, no, not yet. Got to get it made first, but once it does come, we'll climb up on the forklift and enjoy putting it up on the top.
Well, tell us about the race in general. I mean, it seemed like, you've been fast all year. This is not really a big surprise. It's the first time that you've been able to close the deal and get the win. But you running for a win and being in position to win is not really a surprise. You've been fast all year this year.
Yeah, we've like I said before, we've had a lot of speed, and I think it's a testament to everything that Rev Racing has done the past year. That has proven that we do have the speed to go out and win races now, and it was a matter of closing the deal, and we were able to do that. And they've always said that the first one's the hardest and the rest of them come a little bit easier. So I'm hoping that goes by. And I think Chase Elliott's proved that. I think he had a bunch of second places, so maybe it's in the name or something. But, he was able to get a win, then go on to win a couple more. So, like they've said, the first one's always the hardest, and I was able to finally get it off my back.
Well, he went almost 100 Cup races without a win, so you didn't have to wait quite that long.
Yeah, 33.
Yeah. So, but did you feel it going in that you had a shot at this? I mean,
I did after test day. I felt really good at the end of the test day. We were really fast, unbelievably fast. And then practice day, we were, I knew it was going to come down to the 16, the 21, and us is what I thought after practice. And then we went to qualifying, and we were terrible. Car drove good, just no speed. And qualified 10th. I fell back to 11th at the start of the race, and I got very aero tight there, which isn't very typical of that place. I hadn't experienced that in the past there. And you go to a place like Iowa and Bristol and Dover where you do get aero tight, you can move out of the line. There, how line sensitive it is, you have to be on the bottom, so it's really hard to pass cars. So I took my time, spent like 20 laps trying to get around Todd Gilliland, that is, and finally got around him, passed Spencer Davis, and then just kept making my way through and stayed out, made a good call to stay out at the end of the first stage. So that put me from 8th to 5th, and then was able to get up to 3rd and then make our way to the lead.
And like you mentioned, you guys made a lot of changes from just this past year to now. And you guys, as an organization, have been closer to that victory. Does that sort of give you confidence going through the rest of the year that you guys have sort of figured out and you guys are hitting your stride?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been very fast, like you've said, and we've needed that extra itch to beat that 21 car. I think he's been the class of the field every race. He's had a lot of different things happen to him, but he's been definitely the class of the field. The 16 was the fastest at New Smyrna, but other than that 21 car has been good, and so we needed that little bit to get there, and I think we found it. And going to some more of the bigger racetracks that we have coming up in the schedule, minus Thompson, the next one, I think that Iowa and Loudon and Dover, Watkins Glen, those bigger style racetracks, that they'll play into our favor a lot.
Well, don't shortchange Thompson, because I don't know if you've raced there before. Yeah, I think you have at least
He
twice.
ran last
right?
year,
Yeah. So, I mean, it's only a 5/8 mile, but it is a big, bad, fast 5/8 mile, right?
It still races like a short track.
Yeah.
It's probably the toughest place we go to pass. The racing this year will look a lot different than years past. Years past, we went from Thompson to Loudon 1 week. We stayed there. The whole week.
That's
we didn't
right.
have time to tear up race cars, put race cars back together, and go racing. This time we have like a month until New Hampshire. So, not that we're going to go out there and tear up race cars, but with how hard it is to pass there, because the outside being so predominant that if you can just lean on somebody, where in the past you want to do that, you want to chance anything. So I think you'll see a lot more aggressive style racing this year to make passes, and it should put on for a good show.
How big was this win in terms of keeping you in the championship chase? No pun intended. Now that I think of how I just said that, but only 12 points back.
Comma. Chase?
Yeah, I needed a comma there that was not easily visible. But no, in all seriousness, third, 12 points back, still with a really realistic shot at it.
Yeah, a really good shot at it. We gotta, like I said, if we look at from not South Boston, New Smyrna all the way to now, New Smyrna we led laps, had a failure. Was very fast. Bristol ran second. South Boston made a bonehead mistake, finished 8th in the first one, 2nd in the next one, and then won. So if you take out New Smyrna where we had that issue and South Boston where I made a bonehead move,
You'd probably be leading the points right now or close to it.
Yeah, very close. And I think we've come to a racetrack with no worse than a second place race car at times, and sometimes the best race car. And like the second South Boston, I thought we had the best race car and just didn't get the chance. It took too long to come through the field. So we've come with really good race cars, and I think if we can continue the top 3 streak, that we'll be on top at the end of the year.
Well, you definitely have the potential for that, I think. What's been the big difference this year with Rev Racing?
I think just a matter of, taking certain people and put them in different places. Mark Green was my crew chief last year. Not to take anything away from him. He's a great crew chief, but I think he's a better driver coach. He's really good just coaching you throughout the race, and being able to stand up top and watch really helps me a lot. I've got a really good relationship with Mark, so to have him be able to talk to you throughout the race and coach you through it, and it's like football. You need a coach. and to have at our level, obviously
I
Kyle
agree.
Busch doesn't need a coach, but
He is the coach.
yeah, he's the quarterback, the wide receiver,
Yeah.
and everything. So, but to have Mark Green to be able to kind of tell me this and that, it helps me a lot. And then Doug Howell stepping in as a crew chief. I mean, he puts together really good race cars. I think everybody knows that. And so, Doug has done an exceptional job at his point, and you can see it in his face. He's not happy to run second, and neither am I. At first, at the beginning of my K&N career, obviously I was second. I was pumped up. Not no more. And we're not there to get second. We're not there to make friends. We're there to go get trophies and a championship.
Okay, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to play off of that last comment that Chase made about not being there to make friends. We're going to talk about the pass for the win just around the turn. Stick around. You're going to want to hear this. You are watching or listening to Lead Lap Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network and Race Chaser Media Facebook Live. We'll be right back.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
Hi, I'm Tyler Reddick, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back. Lead Lap Radio continues, presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsports safety. You can find them on the web at hmsmotorsport.com for all of your driver safety needs. If you need radios, if you need a seat, whatever it is that you need with relation to driver safety and communication, just give them a call or go to their website and you will find exactly what you are looking for. And we'll talk more about some of our other sponsors a little later on in the program. We continue with Chase Caber, who is our guest in studio at this time. Been talking with Chase about his first win in the K&M Pro East Series, which came this very weekend at the Memphis Motor Speedway, or I guess is it Memphis?
Memphis Motorsports
Is that what it's
Park.
Motorsports
I thought it was
Park?
International Raceway.
Memphis
No,
International.
it is.
Yeah, they keep
It's-
changing it. It's been changed a couple times.
It was
MIR.
Yeah,
Memphis
that's
International
right.
Raceway.
It was
used to be Memphis Motorsports
it used to be
Park.
Motorsports
Yeah.
Park.
Anyway, that track that's in Memphis.
Yeah,
That's not
that
the
place.
dirt track, which is actually in West Memphis, but that's in Arkansas. There'll be a quiz on that later. So, Cabry, last restart. Your pass for the win. I mean, a lot of controversy about that. We all saw it. I want to hear your version of it, and then we can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I get to third. We're coming down to the final not the final start, the final stage.
Yeah.
And I go through the gears pretty good. I think that goes through a little bit of experience. Me and Ruben typically get really good restarts, and I got a good jump, and I had a run, and I saw Sam kind of block a little bit, and I knew that was my opportunity. That if you're going to block, you obviously know I have a run. I'm going to go for it.
Right.
So I jumped all the way down to the inside. My spotter called bottom of 3. We got down in the corner, and I was just aimed for the bottom, just to run my normal corner, and I saw him start to come down. Made a little bit of contact, and then he went up the hill and took the 1 car with him, which, it's a shame because the 21 car and Sam and Max, they're good. They got a good program, and we're going to have to race that 21 car week in and week out for race wins and a championship. And going out there and wrecking cars is not what we want to do. I have the utmost respect for those guys. They put together a good program and come to the racetrack, and they've got good cars. And I don't want to tear things up, not at all, because that's not how I want this championship to go down. Of who's going to wreck who this week, and who's going to end up in on a wrecker. So that's not how I wanted to play out. I just saw an opportunity to get down into a hole, and in my book, I got there, and I was clearly there, and we ended up making contact. So. Obviously, he's going to see it differently. We're racers. That's what we do. We never blame ourselves. But in my book, that's how I saw it.
But you should if it's the truth, right? I mean, if you messed up, you should admit I messed up. In this case, watching the video, Sam definitely turned down. You could see the car move to the bottom. And, it's interesting because it wasn't as though you were all the way down on the grass. There was plenty of racetrack there. And it wasn't an irrational move. You were starting behind Sam, and Max McLaughlin was on the outside, and you made a move to the bottom to take the lead, which we see in every NASCAR race every week on a restart. There was nothing unusual about it. And I think Sam just was trying to find a way to block both of you. And on a track that wide, in a situation like that, you were up to his door, and he turned down.
See that, and that's from an objective standpoint where I see it too. When the inside car at that point is at your door, it's on the outside guy. You should be able to see that car on the inside at that point. So
well, and the spotter calls that, and Sam obviously, like I said, I think he tried to block you. And then he kind of probably realized, as you were saying earlier, that maybe, wait a minute, I don't want to commit too far to the bottom because the 1 car may blow by me on the top or whatever. It's just a hard deal. It's hard to be in that position. You were actually the best position because you could just drop to the bottom and hit the gas. It's unfortunate that happened, but it sent Sam Ayer and Max, kind of up the track and took them out of contention at that point for the win. But to me, it's a racing deal at best, and it certainly wasn't. I didn't see it as being.
I'm not going to sit here and point fingers at Sam or at anybody.
Well, it's not about pointing fingers. But,
absolutely. But to me, if I see a hole, Ayrton Senna, one of the greatest, if not arguably the greatest of all time, made a statement that says, if you're a racing driver and you don't take a hole, something along the lines, if you don't take a gap, you are no longer a racing driver.
Yeah.
And don't quote me. It's obviously a little bit different.
I know
than
the
that,
quote you're talking about.
It's paraphrase.
Yeah,
Paraphrase.
Yeah, we're going to paraphrase it a little bit. But I saw an opportunity to take the lead with 50 laps to go, and I knew if you can get clean air at that place, it's pretty tough for somebody to pass you back. And obviously the 21 car was fast. He drove away from me and Max there, and I saw, okay, this is my opportunity to go ahead and get around him and try to hold him off. So, like I said, I made a move, and in my books I was there, but obviously he's going to see it differently, and you know, that's okay. We'll go about our business, and like I said, I'm not here to tear up race cars. It's the last thing I want to do. Right. We don't have, you know, at Rev, nothing against either program, but we don't have endless funds to just tear up race cars all day long. We're not Hendrick, and these guys don't want to work that hard to rebuild race cars. I mean, not that nobody wants to work hard, but nobody wants to rebuild race cars every
needlessly
week.
repair
the less time
cars.
you have to spend rebuilding race cars,
the more time
you spend figuring out how to go faster.
Yep,
and
it's true.
And just to vouch a point, for people to be telling me that I dumped somebody, dumping is when someone spins out. In my book, nobody spun out. I mean, they went up the hill, they come back. Nobody got dumped.
It's one thing. I mean, like, because Chase hasn't won a race, you know, in a while. So
Ever.
I mean, it's right. But you know, I mean, it's the mentality of somebody who's hungry enough for a win that people are going to say something because those guys have multiple wins or multiple opportunities every single week. Chase was taking, you know, the opportunity to get a win when he needed it, and probably his best opportunity.
Yeah.
If not ever to get the win. So, I mean, obviously he's going to say that kind of stuff, but
I don't really see the whole dumping thing.
I don't
dumb.
either.
It's sometimes it's just semantics. But
it is. Right. By the way, I just want to spare everybody's brains and actually quote the quote that Chase was trying to get to earlier. If you no longer go for a gap that exists, you are no longer a racing driver, Ayrton Senna. There you go.
That's close enough.
There was enough of a gap to fit 2 or 3 cars.
There were 2 lanes below. There were 2 lanes below
Easily 2
Sam.
lanes.
Chase put his car in one. End of story.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate because, you know, as I said from watching it, if, you know, and Sam will learn, obviously. This is why K&N is a developmental series. If, you know, eventually you learn if Sam would have kept the car straight and not tried to so aggressively block you, it would have been a drag race into the corner. And he may have come out of it, you know, second or first or, you know, maybe third, but at worst third, and still would have been right there to repass. Whereas once you drift up and you lose all that momentum, you know, you go bye-bye and, you know.
And then, you know, you can't, and to sit here and, you know, it's easy to look back at it, but from Sam's perspective, I had that same perspective at the next restart.
Sure. Yep.
Lucky enough, I had Ruben behind me to push me.
Right.
And then the next restart, Ruben got spun. I had the 16, and I believe it was the 15 behind me. 16 was to outside. And we're going green, and I heard protect, protect, protect. So, you know, maybe he heard the same words, and he thought, I need to get down, and then by the time it happened, it was too late.
Right.
And the nose was already there. And
exactly.
So you know, there's a lot of things that could have happened. And so, like I said, I like Sam. Sam's a good little kid. He's a
very
darn good
talented racer
driver
too.
And he's in really good equipment this year. And we're gonna have to race him week in and week out. So, hopefully that you know. Obviously, we're never going to agree on whose fault it was, and my people are going to see it my way, and his people. I mean, that's how it is. That's how racing is. So, you know, he did a good job, and he does a good job every week. So, you know, and he did a very good job of not, you know, being super publicity about it and holding it to himself. And I know he's frustrated because he did get moved for the win at South Boston. It was a clean move. He did get moved. And then there was contact for another win. So, yeah, he's got to be frustrated because he does come to the racetrack with one of the best cars week in and week out. And not money-wise, not this, but just Marty puts together a good Marty Lindley, that is, puts together a good program for Sam, and Sam is fast. So, you know, we'll go on to the next races, and hopefully we have some more clean battles and can shake each other's hands at the end of the championship and say job well done.
You know, by the way, he didn't give any of you a chance to do anything in Bristol.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah, he was unreal fast, and like I said, he is fast, and he's a darn good driver. So, and later throughout the season, hopefully that we do get the chance to race each other. I'm sure we will, and hopefully it goes clean and get out and say, hey, good job, man.
But you did finish second in that Bristol race.
I did.
After being on the show and saying, I don't like Bristol, and us saying, you need to learn to like Bristol, because if you keep saying it, okay, so you go and finish second, there you go.
Yeah.
Have you and Bristol made up now?
I still don't like it. I still don't like it. A lot of people like that place, and I don't know why. It's just maybe getting an Xfinity car around there where you can work the top and work the bottom, it'd be a little bit better, but not that big of a fan of that place.
So here's my question. How quick were you to shake that monkey off your back and go, gone, away?
About by the time I got back to the front straightaway and put it in first gear and ran some donuts across Memphis on the front stretch.
He's too young enough to know about this story more than likely, unless he's been reading his history books, Tom, but Jocko Flacco went flying out the back window real fast.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. With that, we are going to make everybody who is watching or listening during the break go look up
Jocko Flacco.
It'll be trending number one by the time we get back from commercial.
There'll be a quiz on this when we come back. More of Lead Lap Radio with Chase Cabry and more conversation about motorsports in general right around the turn. We'll be right back.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves a majority of NASCAR, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schubert helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Valero fireproof underwear, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the staff at HMS is always ready to take the time and help you find the right product for your specific safety needs. You have family and friends who care about you, so don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Just stop in to HMS Motorsport, visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com, or send them a message on Facebook. Tell them the folks from Race Chaser Media sent you.
What an awesome game. What's up with your car? I don't know. It won't start. How are we getting home? Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease that robs people of their ability to breathe. As many as 24 million Americans suffer from COPD, also known as chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and half of them don't know they have the disease. If you or someone you love is over 35 and has smoked more than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime, visit driveforcopd.org and take the screener, then take that to your doctor. I'm Jeff Stoltz, and I drive for COPD.
Hi, I'm John Holloman, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back. Lead Lap Radio continues here on the Performance Motorsports Network and Race Chaser Media's Facebook Live. Tom Baker, Randy Miller, Jacob Seelman. We got Chase Cavery still in the Race Chaser studio with us, and somebody
Good job, Chase.
knocked something off the table. Chase is messing up our studio.
It's his phone.
I'm a rookie.
Rookie dropped
he's a
his phone.
Rookie winner, first time
Yes,
in the
first
K&N
time
Pro
winner.
Series. And we got Chris Murdoch over in the tech shed punching all the buttons to keep us on the air. So this Jocko Flacco fellow was actually a rhesus monkey, not Reese's like the peanut butter cup. Rhesus monkey who rode shotgun with driver Tim Flock for 8 races in 1953. Jocko Flacco was purchased by Flock sponsor Ted Cheater. Gotta love that. Imagine that. A motorsport sponsor, last name Cheater. Okay?
Yeah, shocking.
As a publicity stunt. Is that a surprise? Things went well for a number of races until Jocko got a little too curious, as monkeys are wont to do. In those days, over on the passenger side of the car was a hatch that the driver could manipulate to monitor tire wear. No doubt,
That's awesome.
No doubt Tim Flock had operated the flap and checked his tire wear under the watchful eye of Jocko Flacco during a race at the Raleigh Speedway here in North Carolina, which obviously no longer exists. On May 30th, 1953, Jocko Flacco's final race, Jocko was able to get out of his restraints and immediately head to the hatch to open it up. After opening the hatch, Jocko Flacco was either hit in the eye with track debris or skimmed his head on the right front. While the cause was unclear, the effect was not. Jocko Flacco went crazy and began jumping violently around in the car, including jumping on the driver's back and neck. Tim Flock had to pit and get rid of the monkey. No one really knows what happened to Jocko Flacco. That was it. And I will point out that there is a site called JockoFlacco.com. That's where I got this story from. And the first thing you see on the site is a sandwich. I don't know. That might be a clue.
Maybe that's
what
Jocko
happened to
Flacco.
Jocko Flacco. Yeah, I don't know. But funny
I could
story.
Go for a
and,
Jocko Flacco right now.
you know, racing legend for sure. It's some of the stories
There's a
drivers used to do.
website devoted to Jocko
Flacco.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yep.
How do you feel that a pet
Yep.
monkey has a website and you don't?
Excuse me?
A stuffed monkey.
How do you know I don't have a website?
Oh, maybe you did. Maybe I didn't do my research before I came.
No, you didn't do your research. Sorry, Chase.
He's wearing
Moving
a monkey
on.
suit on
Yeah.
his website. That's what it is.
No.
So, anyways, okay. So you got the win at Memphis, and now you go to Thompson. Is your next one?
Correct.
Are you guys doing throwbacks this year?
Not that I know of.
Oh.
What's wrong with you, K&N? Come on.
I'm not sure if they're not doing it or we're not doing it. It was in the first year. It was awesome.
We need some clarification on this.
And then it dwindled down last year to only a couple of us doing it. And then it's just so, I don't know, maybe not everybody does it, or I don't know if they're going to do it and we're not. But I don't know. It's been cool in the past. I've had fun with it being the rap guy.
Yeah.
Doing this. The 15 car was beautiful last year.
Yes.
It's probably one of the best looking cars I've ever drove. So
I remember that.
it was a good looking race car.
Well, that's too bad because that's fun.
I'm officially bummed.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys remember, but I went all out for this deal. I had the white shorts that were like knee high. I had the white shirt. This was
I
the
don't
first
remember
year
that.
with Southern Biscuit. I
No,
grew my
I do.
mustache with a
the
hat.
mustache that
And-
that looked so out of place.
And I had some like yellow aviator sunglasses.
I'm gonna go
I was
find this
doing it.
now.
That's funny.
I was doing it that day.
Well, that's what it's about, though, right? I mean, it's really, if you're going to throw it back, you're playing a part. You know, it's like you want to do it. It's either do it the right way or don't bother. So I'm sure somewhere in that mess you'll find it.
I'm gonna find it. I'm
there's
determined
that's
now.
I
There's the
love that
car.
part because that's a replica of Jeff Bodine's.
And the story behind that is our fabricator is Robert G was the
Built it.
fabricator. And now our fabricator now is Robert G's son, Jimmy G.
Okay.
And so it was a cool throwback to go back to him. And on the back it said "Bodies" by G, and it was really cool. It was a testament to to Jimmy G, who's our fabricator, who's been
Okay.
at Rev for years. So it was a cool thing to do for him, and he really enjoyed it, and he got to put his input into it, and had Emma on the dash just like he did. So that was a really cool thing.
If you can get your sponsored E3 spark plugs back on the car, you can throw back to your first win.
that's what we're doing.
throwing it back
Just a
7 days,
nonchalant.
or,
Yeah,
2 weeks,
That's what we're
whatever
gonna
it
do.
is.
That's perfect. Good.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. That's
Yeah.
our throwback scheme. You just announced it.
Yeah.
Chris is smart.
That's awesome. Throw it back to his first win
Yeah.
over the weekend. Okay, and then you start to hit some bigger tracks after Thompson,
Yeah,
right?
I think we go Loudon after that. I don't. It's just there for me. It's nothing that I get super excited about. It's nothing that I get super mad about. So then we get to go to Iowa. That place is like cool. This is last year. You got to go the year before that.
Oh, that's why
See,
I can't
Iowa,
find it.
Iowa's awesome.
Iowa, to me, if I was going to build a racetrack, that's what I build. I mean, because it works for everybody. It's not quite a mile, just a little bit short of a mile, but you got like 4 passing lanes on that track.
It's in practice everybody runs bottom. We get to
It's a
qualify.
super speedway that thinks it's a short track.
And then we get to qualifying and everybody runs the bottom. Then you get to racing about 20 laps in. There's people at the fence. Normally I'm one of those guys because I think it's fun. And
Rim rider?
Yeah, and most of the time we're at the fence. There's guys in the middle, there's guys on the bottom. There's room to move, and restarts are awesome there. You can pack it 4 wide on somebody up on the fence, and it'd be pretty cool.
Well, I found the car, Chase.
The car is
we
cool.
just can't find you for whatever reason. I'm determined. Before the end of this show, I'm gonna burn up some brakes trying to find it now.
I'm gonna help you out a little
Oh,
bit.
Chase,
yeah.
can you
There
help?
you go. Well, Chase,
We'll put Chase to work on that. So here's my thoughts, Tom. Now that we're five races into the K&M Pro Series East season. Number one thought.
I hear 6.
Number one thought, Derek Kraus is still on top in the points, which is I'm not sure that we thought we'd be saying that
Not at
this
all.
deep into the season. There we go.
Oh my goodness! Look at you.
The Southern Biscuit car.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Look at the old-time Goodyear hat with the scrambled eggs all over it. Yeah. That's pretty. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it was a good time.
So, but Derek Kraus on top, and we talked about Chase being 12 back. Kraus on top, a third of the way through, maybe a little more than a third of the way through the season now.
How many races?
13 or 14. So we're just past a third of the way through. But does Bill McAnally Racing have a shot? They went into the last race couple years ago with Todd Gilliland in position to win both championships. I know we haven't really talked about the West yet, but can Derek Kraus contend for the double?
Sure,
up?
he can. Why not? I mean, he's fast everywhere he goes. The equipment is basically almost it's NASCAR national equipment, and technology. Much like GMS. I think he definitely can. I think the hard part about doing that is, boy, you got to have a perfect season.
You do.
I mean, we saw what happened, coming down to the end of that season with Todd and Harrison. Todd had basically killed everybody in the West because that's pretty much what, Bill's cars do when the drivers are capable of it.
Except last year.
Yeah, but you had a lot of young guys and girls who were in their, first year or whatever. And so I think it took Derek a year to kind of get settled down in the bigger car, and look at him this year. So
2 wins in the first 4 and 18 points up right now on Trevor Huddleston, who I would not have pegged to be second in points.
But it went into the last race.
Yeah.
And both of them, and Todd had a shot.
He did.
But flat tire.
Yep.
So, you've got to basically be perfect in both series in order to pull that off. And that's a lot to ask.
Tough ask.
Because, luck factors into this. Somebody else drives into you, puts you in the wall, or, whatever. I mean, motor blows up. So, Todd nearly pulled it off. Could Derek pull it off? Sure he could. But, very honestly, I think what we're seeing is delightfully, for me anyway, it's nice to see you guys at Rev stepping the game up this year and getting not just the speed, which you had many times last year, but getting the results. and obviously good to see you get the win. But you've got GMS now, with Sam, and Max is just getting better and better and better. It's, he's learning, but that Hattori certainly is capable of that.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, honestly, you've got situations. I think that the competition is starting to sort of equalize itself a little bit where, okay, McAnally's equipment, great though it is, and Derek, talented though he is, it's going to be very difficult over here in the East for him to pull that off.
Derek's a great kid. I like him a lot.
He is, yeah.
And he's at a good little spot right now. He's leading the points, and if he can just steer clear, just stay clear of I hate to say it, but some of the melee that's going to happen throughout the season.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And
that's what we were saying.
I mean, that's everybody's goal is just to kind of lay low. And right now, that's what he's doing. I feel like he came out with a bang, won the race, and he won South Boston's second race. But in my book, he's almost like he's just laying low. Everybody knows he's there. Everybody knows he's fast. He's one of the fastest every week. But he's just kind of laying low, and it's working out for him.
Andrew Fuller in our chat says, "Congratulations, Chase, on the win." So it's it's cool because you had to work for this. This has been a long time coming for you.
It's me and Ruben were joking last night. We went and watched Rocket Man, the Elton John movie, and then
I haven't seen that yet. How was it?
Awesome.
Is it? Is it as good as the Queen one?
I haven't seen that one, but
Ruben
says no. But I'm a big Elton John fan, so
he'd probably say yes regardless.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, anyways,
we're kids your age that are a big Elton John fan.
Yeah, I'm a big Elton John fan.
Wow.
So we're sitting at dinner, and Ruben said, what's funny is it took me 3 years, 33 races for me to get my first win at Memphis International Raceway. It took you 3 years, 33 wins to get your first win at Memphis International Raceway.
Wow.
And on the trophies that are sitting next to each other at the front desk right now, it's June 1st was mine and June 2nd was his.
Okay, that's wild.
So you ended up just technically ahead of him.
Yeah, and as we're talking about that, our other teammate, Nick Sanchez, which is hoping to make it into the K&N Series in the future, said, well, dang, I hope that ain't a trend.
Yeah, I'd like to win sooner in the year than that.
You've been taking Nick under your wing a little bit the last year.
Yeah, Nick's like my little brother, so.
Justin Sullivan, nothing like working on race cars, listening to Race Talk. See, that's a great idea. As we go to break, I think everybody should ponder the idea of turning us on in their race shop while they're working on the cars. That's exactly what you do. We'll be back with more of Lead Lap Radio, presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety, right after this.
Everywhere you go, you hear it, and you see it. It's coming at you through your phone, your tablet, and your computer. It's broadcast from your favorite radio station, TV networks, and cable companies. It's in the stadiums, the arenas, the ballparks. It screams for your attention at the mall. It's interactive on Main Street. It's even coming at you from the gas pump at the nearby convenience store. What is it? It's digital content. It's digital content. It's digital content. Somebody has to create it. Somebody has to manage it. So whether your dream is to write it, design it, create it, call it, produce it, voice it, host it, light it, shoot it, switch it, record it, color correct it, edit it, code it, repurpose it, tweet it, blog it, post it, compress it, upload it, replay it, or make sure it gets to where it's got to go when it's got to get there in the format it's got to be in, you need to attend Carolina School of Broadcasting. The skills you will learn, the experience you will get, and the connections you will make at Carolina School of Broadcasting will open the doors to the career you want in digital content creation and digital content management. Call or come by today. Click csbradiotv.edu.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speeds, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Tyler Dippel, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
I laugh every time I hear Tyler's voice. He makes me laugh. He's just so goofy.
Hashtag dippling. That's what we do every time that bit comes out. Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio. Tom Baker, Randy Miller, Jacob Seelman, and Chase Cabry all in studio with you this evening. I wanted to take a moment before we kind of transition a bit into talking about Pocono and some other things to just put out some prayers and well wishes to the family of Chris and Daryl Minders, because there was a very serious crash at Greenville Pickens on Saturday night. Greenville Pickens Speedway down here, and it's in Greenville, South Carolina, obviously, and one of the oldest, most historic NASCAR weekly racing tracks. They were running a Mass Series race, Mid-Atlantic Street Stock Series race, and Daryl ended up stopped on the racetrack. There was a crash. Daryl ended up stopped on the racetrack, and somebody came along and drilled him right in the back end of the car, and the fuel cell exploded, and there was a major fire, and Daryl has been is now in the hospital with burns, and there's a GoFundMe if you would care to donate. There's a GoFundMe, and the family really needs the help. Just go to Greenville Pickens, Pickens, greenvillepickens.com, and all the information is there. There's a link to the GoFundMe directly from that page. It was a nasty, nasty crash, and I had the opportunity to spend a year there announcing and doing some things back a few years, and the Minders are some of the most dedicated, committed people to that track. They used to bring about 5 or 6 4-cylinder cars, and
I remember that. I think there was one night I filled in for you, and there was like 5 Minders, and I think I texted you and went, "What fresh chaos is this?"
And it was great, and just really enjoy them a lot, and felt terrible to see that happen. You don't want that to happen to anybody, but when it's somebody that you know and that you care about, it's even worse. But our best, our prayers and our thoughts are with the Minders family in this time. And also, Jessica Dana escaped worse injury than she could have gotten on Saturday at South Boston.
That was a nasty
in
crash.
A similar situation, she crashed, and the front end caught fire. Engine caught fire, and I don't know if it was a brake line or whatever it was, but there was a fire in the front of the car. She was able to get out of the car, but she had either sprained or broken a foot, and she had to hop across the racetrack. I was a little surprised that she actually, in all the time that she sat there and the car was on fire, and she climbed out of it and hopped across to the pit rail. I was surprised there were no officials or anything yet to the car. That was a little disturbing. But again, prayers for Jessica to heal up and get back soon.
That deal, if you watch a video, it's after she hits and the person hits her in the rear. I think the fire was actually in the rear of the car. And
was it in the rear? I thought it was in the front after she crashed into the hub rail. But
it's I believe it's in the rear, because
it may have been.
There's fuel that gets when she gets hit. There's fuel that goes everywhere, and you can you can see a spark on the racetrack, and it ignites the flame, and the flame drives all the way from like 10 feet back from her car all the way to her car to where it gets to the fuel cell, and that's what. Crazy. But you can watch it. It's crazy. You can go, here we go, and then fire.
Okay, so it was a very similar situation to what happened with Daryl Minders on Saturday, and. Unusual to see a fire at a racetrack anymore. It doesn't happen as often as it used to, thank God. But even more unusual to have it happen at 2 different tracks within, the same region on the same night, and, have that kind of a result. So we're getting a look at it here
I just
just
found the video.
watching on the video, and you can see that she got hit,
Watch
and
the flame here.
that was
See it?
I was
See
thinking
it?
that
Drive
was
all the way to
okay.
the car.
Yeah, you're right. That was exactly what happened. You called that exactly right. And you see as she gets out of the car, there's still nobody there. You know, track officials have got to be
Watch
ready
this
to
guy
roll.
here. He's making
I mean,
his,
and then
his,
he- yeah,
his
you
little-
know,
and then he realizes, how do I start this thing?
yeah,
she's out of the car
before they get there.
These guys are still
You know,
walking.
yeah. I mean, and I don't want to jump too hard on the officials from South Boston, but I think
is the one guy, does he have a fire extinguisher? Because I can't see
Yeah.
over here.
He had a fire extinguisher, but he was
And
struck. Yeah.
So how do you work at a track and not know how to run a fire extinguisher?
well,
That's my
see,
first
that's the
question.
problem. Is you know, and I like I've said before, I get spoiled because
God bless his heart for trying to help. But
Right,
yeah.
if you don't know how to run a fire extinguisher, stay away from the flames.
the safety crew at the
I mean-
Oswego Speedway where I grew up, most of them are city firemen, and they have all of the best training and all the right equipment, and they know exactly what to do, and they have literally saved drivers' lives because of their work. And so I kind of get spoiled. But you look at that and you count the number of seconds before the first officials arrive, and she's already out of the car. And thankfully, she was able to get herself out of the
Right.
car despite having the injury. So,
Right.
again, I just always, but we just thank
I
God
mean,
it wasn't
you
worse.
stop and compare something like that to what we see during an IndyCar race weekend with the AMR safety team, and how sometimes they're to a car before it's even completely stopped moving.
Yeah, they're exceptional.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a deal. I mean, I know Oswego has a crew in turn 4 and a crew in turn 2, so no matter where the accident happens, somebody's going to be there within a matter of a few seconds, and that would just seem like a little long to me. And when you have fire, obviously you're down to a matter of a few seconds before the driver starts getting in real trouble. But luckily she was able to get out, and we just hope that she can get back racing soon because
I even mentioned to Tom the guys at Millbridge will run out onto the track before anybody even stops the car. They don't even care.
I mean,
somebody flips and they're gone.
And see, that too could be risky depending on. But yeah, I mean, it's just again, it was a hard night down here in this area on Saturday night because again, two major fires, in tracks that aren't that far away, and obviously both drivers injured. One much worse, more critically than the other, but our prayers are with both Jessica and Daryl at this point. I guess we can transition here and talk a little bit about NASCAR because Chase is always
you pay attention.
Good to jump
Sometimes.
in and talk.
Wait.
What?
No, let's not transition yet because there's something else that happened. We were talking about it before the
that's
show.
right.
We need to talk about your run
let's do that.
at the Non-Wing World Championship.
How about it? Let's
Yeah,
talk
on the
about it.
dirt.
You made the big show in a big way.
Yeah. We it was a long week, and me and my dad went up there and we did it ourselves. And
First of all, where'd you go?
To Peru, Indiana, Circuit City Speedway,
Okay.
the Non-Wing
Just
World
so our audience
Championship.
Yeah, and
Okay.
let's clarify, by the way, that's not Circuit City that just came back into NASCAR with Shane Lee a couple weeks ago. That's Circus City
Yes,
with an
Circus
S.
City.
Yeah. So we went up there. Really cool little racetrack. Really tough to pass on. Gets really dry slick pretty quick. And we spent from Wednesday to Saturday. Everybody's trying to make the big dance, and we were able to lock into the show in a pretty spectacular formation of doing it. And had a run for the Friday night show where we went sliders with a kid named Caleb Bolton. And we went sliders for like 3 or 4 laps. It was
Yeah,
it was
it's
pretty
fun to watch.
spectacular. And then I locked into the show eventually, and I started 11th, got up to 9th in like 30 laps. It took forever for me to get going. I was just too tight at the beginning of the race with the fuel load, and then was able to work our way all the way up to 4th. So something special for me, considering I don't get to do it much, and to go and compete with guys who do it 3 times a week was really cool. And knowing that I built that car myself from the ground up, brand new body on it, that I built the body in the fab shop. So I have a lot of pride in that car, and I do everything myself, so it was really cool to go compete.
I wanted to make that point, too, not just that you went up and had the run that you did, but that you did. You poured a lot of hours into making that car work pretty much on your own.
Yeah, I did. I put a lot of time in that thing. Anytime that I'm home and that I'm not playing iRacing, I'm spending time on that thing and figuring out each and every way that I can, lightening up bolts and doing everything I can to make it perform at its best. It's a 2008 chassis. It's nothing special. I made it work, and it seems to work. And so far, we've had really good runs with it. 4th at the Tulsa Shootout, 4th at the Non-Wing World Championship. Coincidentally so, was besides the guy who ran 2nd, 1st was Kyle Spence, 3rd was Chris Cochran, 4th was me at Tulsa Shootout. At the World Championship, 1st was Kyle Spence, 3rd was Chris Cochran, 4th was me. So,
okay, that's bizarre.
So it's pretty cool to say that out of 2 full weeks between Tulsa Shootout and there, 2 full weeks of racing, that dwindled down to
the
almost
three of
the same.
Three of the same 4 guys.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What was the track like? Because I've never been to Circus City. So
I'll tell you this: you've seen micro racing, and micro racing, I don't enjoy on big racetracks. It's like Talladega. They don't race race good.
They're
they
made
race.
for small and boring kind of.
They're literally mini sprint cars.
Yep.
They're made for mini sprint car racetracks. Yep. They're not made to go on 3/8 miles and half miles, in my opinion. They're boring at that. But you go put them on a quarter mile and anything smaller, and the racing is unreal.
I think Peru was an 8th, right?
Yeah, Peru, we never touched wide open. You might have cracked it when you're running the top for like a quick second, but at least I didn't. You just spun the tire if you did. So it was really cool little place. You had to be super disciplined around the bottom, and then you had to throw your cojones over your shoulder and run the top.
So I know as a racer you're not happy with 4th, but overall with the amount of work that it took to get it ready, are you happy with 4th?
Oh, I was ecstatic. It's a different mindset when you go to those big races. Instead of going there and like, we're going to go win this thing. K&N races, you're obviously already in the show.
Right.
You're in the race, and you're racing against the same guys, and I get to race K&N and pavement all the time. So when I go to these dirt races, I don't get to race that much, and you're racing against 150 of the best in the world. I just want to make show.
Well, K&N's kind of your job.
Yeah.
Right? And that deal is your golf game. That's what you do when you get time off from your job. You go, and it's a different situation. You're obviously wanting to win if you can. Nobody should ever put a driver's suit on not thinking they can win or at least compete. But it's just that's your fun thing.
Yeah, that's my. You're right. It's my golf game. It's my hobby, and I enjoy it a lot.
You love dirt.
I love it. Gosh, I love it. It's so fun.
And you're good at it.
I'm supposed to go race this weekend. Hopefully that the rain holds out. We're going to go race up in Boone against some midgets, but we'll see how that goes.
Oh, wow.
Iowa?
No. We're going to go to Boone, North Carolina. Like an hour and a half up there.
Okay.
What is the track?
Mountain View.
Mountain View.
Mountain View?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, see, when you talk about racing dirt and you just say Boone,
Boone
everybody automatically assumes the track in Iowa.
Modified.
Super Nationals.
But I'm talking about
they run more than just
Mountain View.
Well, I know, but that's what it's known for.
Yeah.
Mountain View is
a fun track. I've been there before.
And we're going to, with Wayne Davis's Southern Midgets. I'm not exactly sure the name of it, but
Southern States Midget Series.
Yeah, but they run micros and midgets in the same class, and it's a Focus Midget or an Ecotech. So there's certain tracks where you can keep up with them, and I feel like Mountain View is one of the tracks that you can, because some of the tracks where it's really strung out, the straightaways really long, the midget will kill you. But when it's nice and tight and they can't. The straightaways are very long. Our corner speed, I feel like, is a little bit better because our weight difference. They're so heavy that they got to get it woed down, where we can kind of keep our momentum. So the racing, I feel like at Mountain View we got a shot. So I'm going to go out there and see if I can't compete with those guys and maybe go get a win.
We're going to take a break. More racing to come. We got a whole second hour left of Lead Lap Radio. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more of the show presented by HMS Motorsport in just a minute.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem and no excuses, because it's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication. But it's those tough choices that help me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Hi, I'm Timmy Salamito, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio. Tom Baker, Randy Miller, Jacob Seelman. Still got Chase Cabry in the studio with us. He's chilling with us still to do at least some of the next hour. We've got Chris Murdoch over there across the way. He's handling all of the production chores this evening. And, of course, Timmy Salamito bringing us back. Timmy is a NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour racer. So, Chase Cabry, have you ever had any desire to jump in a NASCAR Whelen Modified?
At Loudon, sign me up. There's a seat open. That thing looks awesome. You like bump draft around that place, and you like slide job them to pass them. It looks so cool. I'd love to try to get a shot to be able to do that, but yeah, I don't know. I've never even sat in one, so it'd be pretty cool.
See, when you talk about sprint cars on pavement, not interested. Modifieds, sign me up. That's
Right.
kind of how that works. I kind of get that. So let's talk some NASCAR here, because we did have a weekend of racing from Pocono, and interestingly enough, Kyle Busch won.
Shocking.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
So what's next?
So he likes the package this week.
Yeah.
At least till
He
we
said,
go
"Don't
to
ask
the
me
next
about
track.
the package."
Yeah. Yeah, don't ask me about the package.
Stop. Enough asking me about the package. Stop asking me about the package. That's what he said in his press conference. Did you see that?
No, I missed the
his
press conference.
his press conference. He got in and said, "Don't ask me about the package. Enough about the package." And
Yeah,
then so everybody was making jokes like UPS guy something with a package.
Yeah.
Like enough with the package.
I mean, that's the thing is it's like some of us media people are guilty of beating dead horses till they die again, right?
Yes.
And, we know he doesn't like the package. We also know that anytime he wins, he's not going to say he doesn't like the package. He's going to like the package until the next time he doesn't win. He's not going to like the package. That's how Kyle Busch is. But and you know what? As many races as he's won, and he's earned the right to be that way, I guess, if that's what he wants to do. But
yeah, speaking of as many races as he's won, You know that that win on Sunday did put him in some more exclusive company.
Go ahead. Here's your stat of the week.
Stat of the week, courtesy of Stat Boy.
Yeah, you only get one.
It won't be the only one. Trust me.
No, he only gets one. I'm banning stats.
Randy's
after
right.
this.
Sorry. 55th career Cup Series win
Yes.
all-time for Kyle Busch, tying him with Rusty Wallace for 9th on the all-time list. And what's interesting about that, the 8 guys that are ahead of Kyle on that list, all in the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Which means Kyle will be.
Well,
eventually.
So will Rusty eventually.
Rusty's already
Or is he
in
already
the Hall
in?
of
Did
Fame.
he get
Yes,
in? Okay.
he's been
I've
in.
lost track. We put so many.
We've only got 55 guys in. What are you talking about? Or soon to be 60.
Okay, Jacob, look at me and name all 55 guys.
If you let me do it year by year, I could actually do it here
You
before too
probably
long,
could,
which
but
is
you
sad.
can't look at the computer. You got to name them
Here
all.
we go with the.
I'm not
you're
going to do it
taking me
right
back-
now. I'll use the rest of the show.
You're taking me back to second grade with the 50 Nifty song. How I learned
no.
the United States.
Oh,
that
no.
Jacob's going to make a 50 Nifty
Wow.
Hall of Fame.
Oh, boy.
I
edition.
can't. I'm just impressed that you got that reference just came up in this. That's the only time a 50 Nifty reference will ever come up in one of these shows.
I mean, it's amazing. If you do enough shows, you're eventually going to reference everything at least once.
Little do you know, at 2 a.m. one day, you're going to have the cameras live on Facebook. It's going to say Race Chaser online. It's going to be Jacob in here singing the 50 Nifty song.
song.
How about
As long as he doesn't do the dance he did a few weeks ago when we came back from commercial break, then I think we can
Yeah, we
handle
need
it,
to
but-
clip
No.
put it out as an ice.
That wasn't even a
No.
dance. That was a I don't know, medical
Moving
emergency or
on.
something.
He's gonna,
Someone clip it.
this is
Someone
audition
clip
for
it.
Dancing with the Stars.
I
is
want
what
it as a
was.
GIF.
Moving on. No.
We will find it.
Absolutely
When
not.
somebody tweets,
We'll have Chris find it and we'll send
next
it to you.
race I win, I can tweet, I won, and then it can be Jacob
Yeah,
doing
no.
When you, the
Oh,
next
that
throwback
would be-
scheme you do, you should put him on
That
the car
would be the
doing that
perfect
dance.
meme, or Jeff, or
Randy?
whatever. That would be perfect.
If there weren't video cameras rolling right now,
Or witnesses.
No,
or
you
witnesses.
Okay, so
Moving on. Kyle Busch
won
did
at
Kyle
Pocono,
Busch thing.
but
I can
you
quickly
know what?
fix our camera problem.
Yeah, there
How
you
about
go.
no?
Right, exactly.
That would only remove the witnesses outside the studio.
Yeah.
So Kyle wins, but you know what? I don't look at this win for him. It was a decent race, right? I mean, it wasn't. I guess not. I'm trying to put like some sort of positive spin.
There is no positive
No?
spin. Okay.
Is that why Randy took his? Is that why you took your
hang
poker
on,
nap?
hang on. Can I just? God rest Doc Mattioli's soul. Pocono is a horrible racetrack.
Well, it's.
I'm sorry.
horrible racetrack, but-
Listen,
And there goes all of our listeners in the Pocono Mountains.
Here's the deal.
There's no package.
I actually like
There's
that place.
no package that will make Pocono race well. I'm
here's
sorry.
why.
A package of dynamite. I told you
This-
Hey,
before
the
the story.
Xfinity
before
race was exciting.
The Xfinity race was good.
It was a good finish. It was not a good race.
See, I thought it was a good race. The Xfinity race I thought was good. But here's the deal. Pocono was not built for stock cars. Pocono
No.
was built for IndyCar. I mean, this is why the Brickyard 400 is rarely a good race. It's because Indy was not built for stock cars. There's too much straightaway.
Flat tracks are built for Indy cars. Banked tracks are built for stock cars.
Right. I mean, well,
I highly disagree with that statement.
Chase, would you ever run Indy?
Oh, in a heartbeat. Sign me up. Someone open a seat. That'd be awesome.
I don't know if I've ever met a driver who wouldn't run Indy. Even the drivers that say I have no interest in running an Indy car, if they were presented with an opportunity by either Penske or Ganassi, would be in that thing so fast.
I want to drive an F1 car for one lap, and I just want to see, I just want to feel how fast they can corner. Like, I want to get my Can-Am car and go around Watkins Glen, and then get in an F1 car and go around Watkins Glen, and just go holy smokes! I know I'd be at
Well,
least
even an
20.
Indy car around
I'd be
Watkins Glen would be a
20
huge
seconds
difference.
off of
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton, if not more.
Yeah.
Probably be a minute. And but it's just to feel the corner speed would be unreal.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think every racer, because it's all about speed, right? I mean, you guys are, that why wouldn't do this or I wouldn't. Yes, you would. If you had the chance to do it. A lot of the Cup guys obviously aren't allowed to run too much else by contract because of the sponsors. But, I would think almost anybody, if they had the chance, would step into an Indy or an F1 car at least for a hot lap.
Yeah,
even
have you
if
ever
you didn't have a
seen
desire
any
to go
driver
do it full time.
go to GoPro or the pit. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. We're gonna absolutely try to find a way to make it the most competition, biggest thing you could ever imagine. And that's how I mean, heck, I was supposed to go to New York. It ended up getting rained out, but I was supposed to go to New York and run a micro. And some guy was like, "Hey, do you want to drive my Slingshot while you're up here?" Which, for those who don't know, almost looked like a big block with Briggs & Stratton motors.
Yeah.
And I was like, absolutely. Like, I'm there. But, like, would I ever buy one? Probably not. But I'm there for the opportunity. Why not? Sure.
Yeah, as long as it's
Sign
safe
up.
and competitive, right?
Yeah.
And
I
I've
mean,
actually
as long as it's competitive, I don't even care about the safety. I mean, heck, my
Don't say
micro
that too
literally.
Careful, we're on video here.
Yeah.
Hey, my micro literally has no pads in the seat. I'm sitting on metal.
Oh, we need to fix that.
Yeah.
That's not good. HMS Motorsport, the leaders of motorsport safety. Go over there. They've got all the padding you need.
But that's extra weight. That's more work.
Oh,
for
come
me.
on.
Chase, has anybody seen you?
You can afford a few extra ounces.
I'll have to start drilling more bolts. It's just way too much work. I mean, you know what? We'll be all right.
Your racers are irascible when it comes to that stuff. Everything is about ounces at this point. It's not even pounds. You're down to ounces. But you obviously, as young as you are, have an appreciation for a lot of different types of cars. I know your goal is to make it to Cup, but if you could go anywhere you wanted and make a good living at it, you know, with a good competitive team, is it NASCAR? Is it Outlaws, or where is it?
Oh, you're going to make me get in trouble. If I could pick anything to do for the rest of my life and make a living at it, I have never driven a USAC sprint car, like a non-wing USAC sprint car. I've driven a wing sprint car, but never a non-wing one. And I love non-wing micro racing. I would tend to lead to that, but if I could make a living racing midgets, running a USAC midgets, oh my gosh. Power Eye, USAC, going running Kokomo, that'd probably be that's the coolest thing.
Who do you look up to on the USAC side? I'm officially curious.
Sunshine, come on.
There you go.
I mean, he's.
I knew it was it was either going to be Sunshine or KTJ.
I'm a Sunshine guy.
Fair.
He's pretty unreal in them things.
He's kind of 4 out of 6 right now.
Yeah,
he's
going
definitely
into
in a good
Indiana
year.
Midget Week.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, so back to Pocono.
Yes, back to Pocono.
I mean, if you look at Pocono and you look at the results, I mean, it's interesting to me. We've had so much conversation. I mean, Brad Keselowski finished second. We've had so much conversation about what's happening with Eric Jones lately. Is he going to be out? Is he going to be in? And,
He done good.
The rumor is long-term contract, which is really intriguing because then that affects maybe some other drivers' futures down the road a year or two.
Christopher Bell.
Yeah, cough, Christopher Bell. Eric finished third, had a great run. Chase Elliott fourth, Clint Boyer fifth.
Eric's been a top 5 car every week when they've not had issues or other drivers take them out.
Well, and I think, JGR and Penske have pretty much owned the season.
Yes,
with a few
and
exceptions.
JGR is now on the hottest start to a season since at least 2007 when Hendrick Motorsports won 10 races in the first half of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an interesting start that those two organizations have had. Hamlin a nice 6th place run, Logano 7th, Suarez 8th, Byron finishes 9th. William Byron
From
is
the pole.
slowly. He hasn't had the result yet in the race, but you can see that
William was frustrated after that race because he believed they should have been better and they had more speed than a 9th place car. But Tom, you watched that race, and this is what it was exactly what all the race fans did not want to see with this package, but unfortunately, because some tracks just aren't going to give you good racing no matter how you cut it, you're still going to see it sometimes. People didn't want to see races be about track position and people not being able to pass anybody, and that's all this race was.
And that's
the only on-track green flag pass for the lead more than a lap after a restart all day was when Kyle Busch sailed around the outside of Clint Boyer at turn 3 in a place where I didn't think you could go to the outside and make a pass on somebody at Pocono.
Well, he managed, and with that, we step aside. We'll talk more about Pocono. We've got a couple of IndyCar races to hit before we're done. Lots more to come as Lead Lap Radio continues, presented by HMS Motorsport. We will be right back.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper cars, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay.
Totally. Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now. Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
Hi, I'm Dylan Bassett, and you're listening to Race Talk on Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
You chuckled at Sparkplug. Chase has been trying to guess who's going to bring us back from break the whole night.
Yeah. Dylan's a good kid.
He is a good
Bassett's
kid.
a lot.
Yeah, they're now spending time in the Xfinity Series. Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio, presented by HMS Motorsport. Also by our friends at strutmasters.com, the suspension experts. And if you want a better ride on your car or your motorcycle, all you do is go to strutmasters.com, and they'll take good care of you. It's amazing what they've been able to accomplish for a lot of people over the years, and Chip Lofton and his staff know what they're doing. Just go to strutmasters.com, and we want to thank them for being a part of our family, and mycomputercareer.edu as well. Training for a better life. We'll talk to you more about them in a bit. Tom Baker with you in the Race Chaser studio, along with Randy Miller from the Inside Pass. Randy, who we got on this Wednesday?
Chris Rice will be on this Wednesday, so I'm excited about talking to Chris.
Chris Rice
Chris is a really good friend of mine.
Now the
he's the president of Kaulig. Yes, president at Kaulig Racing.
Former
so he's
crew
responsible.
chief.
Former crew chief.
Yep.
So he's responsible for the
he
Justin
still crew
Haley
chief the
career. What?
Doesn't he still crew chief the 10?
I believe he does. Crew chief the 10.
Yeah, he does.
So
when
he
it
was
runs.
crew chiefing with Austin Dillon
yes.
Saturday. I
Yep.
believe. So
And Chris will be on the show to tell you and I why he was
his favorite fruit. For wine.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yes.
why he was so mad at Ross.
The inside story. Ross wants to know why he was yelling at him.
Yeah, why was he yelling at him last time?
Ross was on
killed
last
for him?
week.
Yeah.
And he wants to know why Chris was yelling at him.
So if you want to know why his Ross Chastain's crew chief from the 10 car was yelling at him, tune in Wednesday night. Spreaker.com. Just download Spreaker and just go to the Inside Pass, or you can go to the Inside Pass.
Live.com.
Yep. And so Tune in Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern for that.
For the rest of the story.
For the rest of the story. Jacob Seelman here as well. Chase Cabry still with us for one more segment. And Murdoch over there punching buttons in the tech shed, doing a great job as well.
I don't know if he's technically punching the buttons. I think
we hope he's not punching.
No, sometimes
you don't
you
want to
can
punch buttons. You just want to kind of.
I had his job once, and Jacob makes you want to punch buttons.
Yeah, he's
sometimes.
I do have objects
Is
over
it
here if you guys go over.
In about a month, we're going to be sitting here dancing, watching for screens flying this way.
Did I miss a memo? Is it National Pick on Jacob Day or something?
It's National Pick on Jacob month.
Yeah, National Pick on Jacob month.
That was every day.
I thought we were going to
that
end it on
came
the
straight out of
31st.
D.C. We got that from Congress.
But,
They passed that last week.
The video that Murdoch put up on Facebook of us making fun of your shirt was viewed like 300
Yes,
times.
American flag, yes.
I watched it like 350.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Want to
that
get up
was-
and do your dance?
It is.
No!
No, please don't.
Please don't.
That can never be unseen
Don't
again.
encourage him.
Yeah.
Okay, Xfinity at
all in good fun.
Pocono.
Dear Cole Custer and Tyler Reddick, more of that,
Yes.
please.
That was, I thought, the reason I think that was a good race, it wasn't because it was just a dynamite battle for the lead the whole way, but it was because you always had the feeling that whoever was out front, Tyler Reddick started at the back, and he was basically knocking on the door of the lead by the end of the first segment. And you went, oh my. I mean, but you had Custer, you had Austin Cindric. I mean, there were some fast cars in that race. And you really weren't sure, but you just had the feeling that anytime anyone kind of got out and went, you had the feeling that not going to last. We're going to have a late race caution, and we're going to have something happen, and there's going to be a change in position. At least I did anyway, so I was not surprised, honestly.
So you do realize that Tyler Reddick never led a lap in regulation,
Well,
right?
this is what I'm saying. But he went from the back to the front in a heartbeat in the first segment.
Yeah,
and
if not for his transmission change that they had to make, I firmly believe this would have been a far less entertaining race because I think the two car was that good if he'd have been able to start sixth like he was supposed to. But this race was full of drivers driving from the back. I mean, you look at Chase Briscoe, who came from outside the top 10 to third. Gregson did the same thing, got up to sixth. Nemechek came from the back, I think, twice, and ended up 12th. Brandon Brown went from 27th to 13th. So it wasn't as if there was a lack of stories. It was just Cole Custer led a lot of laps.
Well, and that's the whole thing. I think it's a situation where you never had the feeling it was over until it was actually over.
Yeah, until turn 3 when Cole Custer sent it and it stuck.
Yeah, I mean, Reddick basically kind of left the door open for that. And, when he did that, Cole Custer went past you very much.
He didn't have a choice. Tyler's car was just way too tight at the end. He couldn't stick it to the bottom.
But as Chase would tell us, there is a way to back up a corner so you don't have to, go up.
I think if he'd have backed, Tyler said afterwards, if he'd have backed up the corner as much as he needed to make that work, Cole would have had such a run he'd have just done what Kyle Busch ended up doing to Clint Boyer on Sunday.
Maybe that would have happened.
It was. He said we got out front, but the 00 was the best car.
I mean, yeah, sure, and it was good to see.
What happened to Bell? Was he just didn't have the speed? He ended up fifth.
Well, I mean, Chris was competitive, but
he spun.
He didn't have. Yeah, he ended
He had
up
to come
spinning,
back from he had to come back from getting spun there in stage 1 and spent the whole race.
He wasn't
coming back.
Yeah, he wasn't going to win. I don't believe he was going to win the race, regardless on Saturday. I think it was the 00 or the 2.
Or the 2 and the 00. Yeah.
Maybe the 22 might have had an opportunity.
We officially have the big 3 this year, like we had in the Cup Series last year. It's Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, and then everybody else.
Yeah, but you know what? There's some everybody else's, like I said, with Cindric, for example, who are they're knocking on the door. I mean, it isn't It's probably the most competitive Xfinity series. I mean, Randy, you've been quiet over here. What do you think?
No, I was also impressed with Ryan Priest's run.
Yes.
Driving the 8 car.
Yep,
for
the
Junior.
8 car. Yep.
What's funny is that everybody who's been in the 8 car has been close to a win. I think they've all finished in the top 5 this year. So
Ryan Priest was solid. Yes.
Well,
Very
and
solid.
Jeffrey Earnhardt was another car who was also fast.
And he did not get the finish that he deserved for the speed that he had. He got pinned a lap down and just wasn't able to show what he could do there, being involved in that spin in turn 2 there that ended up setting up what was first a green-white checkered, or a 3-lap dash, I should say, and then ultimately the overtime restart that took Justin Allgaier out of contention, too.
Yeah. Yep.
If it wasn't for the contact between Cindric and Earnhardt that turned Jeffrey around, I think he would have stood a much better chance to have a good finish too.
We were talking about Kaulig. They finished 9th and 10th with Haley and
again.
Dillon.
Yep.
So
They just keep knocking down solid finishes.
Well, they do, and it was nice to see Noah Gragson have a nice run too.
He needed that.
He needed
and
it.
he that was one of the things that stood out to me from his bullpen session afterwards. He said we need runs like this right now.
Yep, and he personally needed it, and I was happy to see that he was able to do well. And so Xfinity now heads off to Michigan as well.
Yes, no truck race.
I was going to say
wait,
truck series
yes,
is not
trucks are
in
in
Michigan.
Tejas.
They're in,
Tejas with the IndyCars.
That's right, Texas.
Friday night.
It's the start of the Triple Truck Challenge.
Yes, very good. Yep.
So if one
Did you just say what's that?
Yes,
Yeah.
he did. So here's my quick quick synopsis about the Triple Truck Challenge. If you win the next 3 truck races, you pocket $500,000. That's literally how this works. There's $50,000 in bonus money for every driver to win each of the next 3 races.
Wait, so it's
Now Chase wants a truck ride.
It's $500,000 if you win Texas.
Not just Texas, Iowa, and Gateway.
Yeah, but you have to win all 3.
All 3, yes.
And then you get $500,000.
You get $50,000 bonus if you win Texas.
So
if you win Texas and Iowa, you get
Is there a way that Kyle Busch can run all 3?
No.
Kyle Busch can't run any more trucks this year. He's done.
The only drivers who can
He hit
run
his
in
five
these
race
the only drivers who can run in the next 3 races are drivers who are declared for Truck Series points. Not even the Xfinity guys
Can I ask
drop
a dumb
down.
question?
Go ahead.
Yes.
No question is a dumb question.
Except when
Thank
it
you,
is.
Chase.
So how does Ross get to do what he does? Is it because he's not a full-time Cup driver?
It's because he doesn't have 5 years of full-time Cup experience.
Well,
there you go.
it's also because he's Xfinity Series points. too.
Right. He's also registered as Xfinity Series
Right.
points, but even though he's not registered for Cup Series points, if he runs every race for 5 years, even if he's not registered under Cup Series points, then he would be limited unless
That
he
was just-
declares for.
That
a
was just
World
always
Series.
confusing me.
Yeah.
I didn't know how Kyle
So-
couldn't and Ross could.
Yeah, so the limit, and it's the same for somebody like Landon Castle. If as long as you have not run every race in the Cup Series in 5 different seasons, you're not limited to the amount of races you can run.
Isn't this the race? Texas the race? Where's Greg Biffle?
This is the race.
That's what I thought. Greg Biffle
The Biff
returning
is back.
in Kyle Busch's, was it 51?
Yes,
51
the
truck.
51.
Yeah. So the Biff
Look
making
out.
his return, and there was some.
The Biffle comes back in and wins $500,000.
Well, there was some question as to because one race deal.
Yeah.
If Biffle wins at Texas,
Would they put another truck
would
together to
they-
keep it going?
Yeah, would they actually? And of course, then Kyle interjects. Well,
if the 51
maybe it
truck,
should be owner.
Yeah, if the 51 truck wins all 3 races, we should get it as a team.
Yeah. So
he was
like
going to go.
he needs $500,000.
Yeah, he was going to go yank on Marcus Lemonis' sleeve for that one.
So it'll be interesting. To
By
see.
the way, before I'm going to turn to my right here because Chase has
Okay.
another obligation to get to.
Yes,
and
he does. He has another
before
radio
we
show to do.
before we let him go, just want to say thank you again for
Thanks for
coming
having
in.
me on the
We're
show.
glad
Yeah.
that
I
you
appreciate
won
it.
and were able to come on, and
Yeah.
we want to give you a chance to say thank yous.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on the show. It's always good. You
got an open door, bud.
And I enjoy being on it. So hopefully we get to do this many more times this season, and
Go win Thompson.
hopefully we can
Yes.
go win some more races.
Sponsors, team, anybody you need
Oh,
to
of
say hi
course.
to?
Those Rev Racing guys, they're far done and the best in the business, and wouldn't be here without them. And so I'm very thankful for that opportunity and the opportunity that Max Siegel's provided for us.
Well, congratulations on the win. It was great to see that finally happen, and we look forward to having you back on more before the end of the year for sure.
I appreciate it.
Chase
Thank you very
Cambry,
much.
we're going to step aside. When we come back, we continue more motorsports conversation. There was this thing called the Short Track Nationals at Bristol, and an old guy won. We'll tell you who he is when we come back. More of Lead Lap Radio after this.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves a majority of NASCAR, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schubert helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Olero fireproof underwear, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the staff at HMS is always ready to take the time and help you find the right product for your specific safety needs. You have family and friends who care about you, so don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Just stop in to HMS Motorsport, visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com, or send them a message on Facebook. Tell them the folks from Race Chaser Media sent you.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Brandon McReynolds, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio. I love Metallica. Can you tell? Tom Baker, Randy Miller, Jacob Seelman, Chase Cambry gone. You know, here no more. He has gone off to his next radio engagement. That's what you do when you win a race in NASCAR.
You talk to lots of people.
But he won't have as much fun.
And
No, he won't. At least we were one of the people.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're one of the people. And always have a good time with Chase. We appreciate him. And just good to see him finally. He's worked hard to get his first win.
He
so
has.
good to see him finally get there. And Chris came in and changed the camera position, so now I'm all messed up. Anyhow,
Aw, wah,
before we
wah.
continue with big series, national series, let's slip in a little bit of conversation about the short track nationals, because Mike Skinner comes out of retirement.
He's not been retired.
If you
what are you
want
talking
to
about?
call it that, well, he hasn't been racing very much.
He's been running that Pro Late model as much as he can run that
Has
Pro
he?
Late
I didn't
model.
realize
And when
he'd
he's
been running
not,
that much.
yeah, when he's not been running it, he's been running his truck that's been converted to a hill climb for
Oh,
Goodwood,
yeah, that's right. I did see he was doing
and,
something with that,
Well,
yeah.
that and some of the SVRA vintage races.
Okay.
Mike's racing as much now as he ever did when
That's
he was running the
interesting.
truck
Oh, I didn't
series
know he's doing
full-time.
SVRA too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I need to-
He's doing the Charity Pro-Am deal.
I lost
Yeah,
track
the
of all that.
Charity Pro-Am
Anyways.
series. They've put together a 3 or 4 race charity pro-am series SVRA has, and Mike's been running those as one of the celebrity drivers.
Mike won Bristol.
Mike won Bristol in a pro late model, and you know what? Mike Skinner said last year, darn it, we should have won Bristol. And he came back with a vengeance, even after getting a little bit of damage in an early crash. He wasn't going to let that slow him down. They got it repaired. He drove back through. Something with the brakes wasn't quite right. Mike didn't care. Mike drove to the
brakes at Bristol.
Mike.
Who uses brakes at Bristol?
We need brakes at Bristol.
Mike drove to the front and won that race. And you know what? I loved it. Afterwards, he said, I've got a Bristol trophy, but this one means just as much as that one did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it does, because it was hard earned. Anytime you win in anything at Bristol,
whether it's a truck or a late model, I don't care what it is.
I mean, and the late models at Bristol, if you've never seen a late model race at Bristol, the late models at Bristol are basically foot to the floor.
It's a little terrifying.
Yeah. It really is. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, I want to say that the UARA late models, and this would have been back in probably the mid-2000s when they were running there, I want to say they were averaging over 160 at Bristol. I mean, it's just, you basically have to build a car specifically for
No, they couldn't
race,
have been averaging that fast, because that would have been faster than the sprint cars.
No, they were pretty fast. At least their top speed may have been ones, but it was pretty.
Yeah,
it was fast.
Sprint car top speed was 165, because we've got the all-time track record there with Must-See at like 100.
It was
152
they were pretty close.
mile-an-hour average.
It's I mean the NASCAR late models and the I don't know if the super late models have run there that long, but the NASCAR late models is what I'm talking about, and they were flat out flying. And again, it's the same thing too with the closure rate and everything else. It's it's a hard track to win anything at, and so for Skinner to go up there and do that just goes to show you the caliber. And somebody said, well, but he was running a pro late model. You run against a bunch of kids. No, there were a lot of veterans in that field, because everybody enters Bristol because they want to win. And it was an interesting win for him. And that event's always fun. And every year it gets better.
It does.
The first year was a mess.
That last year was better, and this year was better.
This year
still.
was really much improved from what I can tell. So good on it.
Yes. By the way, for anybody who's curious, the overall Bristol Motor Speedway track record was set by Brian Gerster in a Must-See Racing sprint car event, October of 2011 at 12.742. That's 150.5 mile-an-hour average.
Okay, well,
that's scary fast.
So it wasn't as high as what I said earlier, but they're still flat out flying.
Yeah, I think the pro late models were averaging about 126. Is what I just read.
Yeah, you're hauling the mail with one of those, because you don't, like I said, you barely lift.
Right.
You're there's just not enough horsepower to have to lift off. Obviously, if you're in traffic, but if you're by yourself, there's just you're not really lifting too much. And that sprint car deal was part of a special.
No, we came back that October.
Oh, that's right. You guys
came
did run
back that
the show.
October and ran a full show there and broke the speed trial record that we set.
Yeah. So
I wish. I would so love to go back there.
Well,
I really
don't you know
would.
people?
See, the thing is,
I know
not
people,
just like,
but
can we go back to Bristol?
Well, listen, I know people, but those people don't control Bruton Smith's wallet.
Well,
that's true.
That's true. I mean, that would be a battle. Obviously, at the speed trials, they had a sprint car, and then Mike Lichty had his super modified. But I think it going forward a few years now, with the way the supers are now, I'd love to see those speed trials, because I think actually both the super and the sprint car at this point would probably go even faster.
Oh, we would absolutely go faster than what we did in 2011.
So that would be scary. And the super modifieds are so aero advanced now that if you got one set up right, it would be scary fast, because I know, again, back probably 10, 15 years, Loudon's a mile. They were averaging 170 when they tested there, and they decided not to race there because of that. You just thought it was too dangerous, and Bristol would be the same.
And at the time, that's part of the reason why we didn't go back in 2012, because we were concerned about the speed threshold, not necessarily from a safety standpoint because of the safer barriers, but really from a driver's standpoint, just because of the immense amount of G-forces that were put on the driver cockpit.
Yep. Well, and then, of course, those things do get airborne.
Right.
Well,
much as we try them not to.
Well, that's right, but that's part of what open-wheel cars are. Okay, speaking of open-wheel cars,
yes,
some time to transition to the IndyCar series. They had a pair of races at Belle Isle. I did not see the one yesterday. I saw the one on Saturday, and I've never been a fan of rain racing or racing under wet conditions. But
wait, you just said there's actually a good side?
But that race, because it started in those conditions, but it got better.
Gradually drier.
Drier. There was a strategy play there with, who was going to run the softer tires early and all of that. I actually thought that was a really interesting race on Saturday. And, here again, Alex Rossi, this much short.
Yeah. Joseph Newgarden says, no trophy for you.
Yeah, and, again, it just came down to the fact that Newgarden, I think, just actually had the better car.
I believe so, yeah.
There was some interesting racing, and I thought that, you saw some guys like Zach Veach.
Who spun before the green flag even came out.
Yeah, well, he did, but then, to me, I actually, in the end, I hate to say I was happy that happened, but to watch him come from the back and run up to the top 7 the way he did, Zach was he definitely has shown that he belongs on the road courses, the street courses, road courses. Sure. He does really well. But
he's getting better on the ovals, too.
Right? But you had some really interesting performances on Saturday out of drivers that you don't necessarily always talk about, and this is what even Matthias Leist early on was in the top 10 and actually running well, ended up in the barrier, but. I just thought that was overall. I thought that was a pretty good race.
Yes.
Sunday
was a demolition derby.
Yeah, I mean, Sunday was more like Belle Isle normally is.
Look, I was going to say, can Randy and I commiserate about this one for a minute?
Well, you can, and I'll jump in. But go ahead.
Number one, to see Scott Dixon go from crashing out by himself, which he hadn't done in 5 years. On Saturday to winning on Sunday was the most Scott Dixon-esque thing that I think I've ever seen in my life. And, oh, by the way, he was honored by the Queen, too, prior to the race, received one of the highest honors from the British
Is he Sir Scott Dixon now?
He is not Sir Scott Dixon. He received a specific award that I will pull the name up.
While you're pulling up the award, he is now 7 wins away from tying.
How crazy is Mario Andretti for second? How crazy is that?
That's crazy to me. I mean, just to have him, because you know what, we talk in NASCAR all the time about eras, and Richard Petty in his era, Dale Earnhardt in his era, and Jimmy Johnson in his era, and of course now you got Kyle Busch starting his own era.
Right.
But IndyCar, Scott Dixon. We never acknowledge this enough, but Scott Dixon, either of you disagree with me that Scott Dixon is the best of his era?
No.
Absolutely not. He's got five championships, third in all-time career wins, putting up numbers the likes of which we've not seen since Foyt. And see, that's the big thing about AJ and Mario is they kind of crossed over each other's eras.
Yeah.
The second part of the Foyt era and the first part of the Andretti era kind of cross-pollinated a bit. But Scott Dixon, I don't think IndyCar racing personally ever truly acknowledged the Scott Dixon era when it started.
He never got the credit that he deserves.
He never got the credit for what he was doing until now, when all of a sudden you realize, oh my God!
Well, because it's like you see what he's accumulated over time.
Yeah,
it's like you look at a whole body of work. When he was starting out doing what he's done, there was a ton of other competition,
Right,
and it always
Elio.
seemed like, Elio, you had other drivers that people focused on.
Right.
It's unfair because we think about Kyle Busch. Every time he wins a race, there's banners and fireworks, and
Yeah.
it's like, he's another win closer. He's another win closer. But then Scott Dixon's busting off these wins and getting closer and closer. Now they're like, oh wait, he's 7 wins away from all time now. Or like, oh.
Yeah.
Where have we all been?
Where have we all been? Right.
Exactly.
So he's third all times, as Randy referenced, 7 behind Mario for second. And I think really what I know Chris is about to throw something at me. But just to get this point,
better you than me.
I think that the reason we don't necessarily appreciate the magnitude of what Scott's done is because it's been over such a prolonged period of time. His first championship was in 2003.
Yep.
Here we are in 2019 talking about him going for his 6th championship. He has had a level of excellence over nearly 2 decades.
That's not going to fly, Chris.
Shut up, Chris, okay? We'll take
Chris
a break.
just threw something in here.
Velcro does not fly very far.
I was going
Velcro
to say,
does
it
not
kind of
fly.
went. It was almost like watching Barack Obama throw at the first pitch that year. It was like,
or the girl on YouTube.
He throws like a girl. Okay,
all right.
We'll be back with the final lap of the Lead Lap Radio Show for tonight. Right after this.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. On with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem and no excuses, because it's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Matt Tift, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio. Took Chris till the last.
He was having a party back there.
Yeah, Chris was
Too
struggling
much
there.
partying, Chris.
Hit the buttons.
Come on.
Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio as we enter our lightning rounds, the final laps of tonight's show. Tom Baker, Randy Miller, Jacob Seelman, and Chris Murdoch. And we were talking about IndyCar and Belle Isle.
We was.
And again, Scott Dixon's win on Sunday after he took himself out on Saturday, which is, like you said, that's very
It's
rare.
the first time that Scott Dixon has crashed out of a race without without another car being involved since 2014.
Yep.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it was amazing. IndyCar, I think, this year has really started off on a high note.
Yes.
And it's a shame that they don't get the ratings that I think they deserve. I wish more people would actually sit down and watch the racing, because even as much as I'm not a fan of street courses, and Belle Isle falls right smack into the middle of that, they, again, on Saturday, even despite some challenging conditions to start, they put on a really good race. Sunday was the disaster that Belle Isle usually is, I guess, but that's kind of to be expected. But they've got some tracks coming up on their schedule that I just, again, including Pocono, that I think are just amazing tracks for IndyCar. And so if you haven't seen an IndyCar race yet this year,
do it.
Or if you've only seen the Indy 500, that's kind of like only going to church on Christmas and Easter. It's like, there's more to the IndyCar series than that. And it's, this year to me has been ultra competitive.
It has been. And I want to add, by the way, that we got a reminder of our middle or high school algebra lessons during the late stages of Sunday's race, which you didn't get to see, Tom.
I did not.
But Randy, the equation came into my head, at least at turn 3, that 3 cars trying to fit into a space that only has room for 1 car, it no work.
No, it doesn't work. No matter what kind of car you drive, it doesn't work. Although in IndyCar, it's funny because when they try to do it, they bounce. They bounce because of the tires, and one goes one way and one goes the other way, and then it's mass chaos and fire.
It was mass chaos, and it was Joseph Newgarden and James Hinchcliffe that spun into the barriers, and how Alex Rossi, number 1, spun himself to not get any damage, but number 2, fired the car and kept going as if nothing had ever happened. Like
talent.
Well, again,
Moving on.
I think the guy is talented. To me, Alex Rossi is at the top of the heap right now in the IndyCar series.
His car was 10 pounds heavier.
Yeah. Let's add, though,
or at least 5 pounds heavier.
That inadvertently, that's one way to make up ground in the championship. You take out 2 of your chief competitors in one corner.
Exactly. Well, here again, it's just you're almost assured of contact in a lot of places on that track because it's just not wide enough to pass. That's always been my biggest complaint with the street courses, is that you only usually get 1 or 2 corners.
They pick 2-lane streets.
Yeah, where you can.
Instead of 4-lane highways or something where they would be a little bit wider.
Let's go run on
downtown
I-40.
is never good. I don't know what downtown you go to.
So you just never. You just never get to pass on those courses. But anyway, so the IndyCar Series season continues, and boy, you just got to love if we could get this to come down to Rossi and Dixon.
Well,
somehow.
Okay,
but
let's not forget about the 2 Penske cars.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Somehow,
and Scott Dixon was more than 100. He was 2 races out of the championship going into Sunday at Detroit. Now all of a sudden he's 1 race out of the championship, leaving Detroit. And oh, by the way, last year his first win of the year, Detroit. What did he do? He won the championship.
But that's you got to understand. The reason I say that is because those 2 drivers,
Fire and Ice,
are just exactly. I mean, they're just such calculating and yet balls out kind of. It's that combination of the 2 that makes them fun to watch.
Silent assassin.
The Penske cars are fast, but
Scott's the silent assassin.
Yes.
He's the Iceman. Alex Rossi is fire. He is.
Yeah, Rossi's he's got a big set. I mean, let's face it. He has
2 speed, stop and go.
Yeah, he's not afraid to put the nose in and try to. He's like a much more controlled Takuma Sato, who I should add has become a much more controlled Takuma Sato this year.
He has.
Yeah, he really is. And that's fun to watch. So yeah, the IndyCar set running over there, and I wanted before we. As we start into the lightning round, I'm going to go around the table here because I think there are a couple of things that we can touch on. First of all, the persistent rumor that Honda will enter NASCAR with Petty and Andretti. I'm starting now to see that creeping up in more and more places. And hear more and more people talk about it. I'm going to, again, ask around the table here. I want, in your opinion, are you buying or selling? I'm going to do this again because we start to see just a few more wisps of smoke over the last week. Randy, you buying or selling that this actually might happen?
I'm buying it all day long, and I'm going to tell you, you heard it here first. Bubba Wallace is going to run the Indy 500. I promise you, he's going to do it.
You said that.
He's going to do it. You heard it here first.
I had never thought of that, but that would be an awesome. That would be an amazing.
2021.
See happen. Because you're not. This is all not going to happen next year.
Maybe 2022.
Jacob, you buying or selling?
Selling it till it happens. If it happens, I'll gladly eat my words, but I won't buy it until I see it, and even then, my jaw is going to be on the floor.
You have little faith. Chris Murdoch over there, you buying or selling?
I'm selling it. I just think it's way too big of a move for Honda right now.
Well, it'll be interesting. I think in 21, when the new Gen 7 car comes out and you start seeing more of these, because there is no Justin Sullivan asking in the chat, is Honda developing a V8 for NASCAR? We don't know. Obviously, they would have to be, although, this is where everybody starts to get, this whole thing gets murky, is because there's talk that the Gen 7 may become a spec car, kind of like the IndyCar spec car.
And NASCAR's actually had meetings with Dallara about helping them develop the Gen 7 car.
The Gen 7 car. Now, but the difference here is you're not going to see a spec motor. In other words, you're going to have. This is where NASCAR would actually align itself closer with IndyCar in the way that it presents itself, because then you start getting these manufacturers to, like Honda, they would start to develop motors if they thought that they could do it in a way that lets them innovate for the street
now,
again.
could this be leading down the path to what was rumored last year and what the IMS president wants to do is a NASCAR IndyCar doubleheader?
I heard triple header, actually. I heard they wanted Formula One, Indy, and NASCAR all in the same weekend.
How?
I don't think
you would never be able to pull that off.
I think there's only one place that you could possibly even look at pulling that. Well, maybe two places. You'd either have to do it at Indy or you'd have to do it at COTA. I think that's the only two possibilities there. Now, but setting F1 aside, I believe we see, if not in 20, which probably won't happen in 20, but I believe we see in the next couple of years an IndyCar Cup doubleheader. I mean, you could say, okay, well, IndyCar already does that with the trucks. We're not talking about a truck race. We're talking about IndyCar and Cup on the same weekend, the same track. And I think, honestly, if it were me, I would pick the Roval and do it there, because I think IndyCars on the Roval would be awesome to watch. I think that would be a great race. And instead, so what you do is you basically say to NASCAR.
Could you do it at the Daytona Roval?
You could, sure. Why not? I mean, it's possible. I don't know.
I don't think Cup cars would be too good on the Daytona Roval.
See, that's the thing. I don't know how that would work.
But why, Chris?
I don't know.
I just don't think you get enough speed out of that.
Well, you're doing the same thing basically that you would do at Charlotte's Roval. You're using 3/4 of the the big track.
Let's just go run Eldora.
You know, but I don't think you can put an IndyCar at Eldora.
Why not?
But it would be. I think the Roval will be a great place to do something like that. And of course, we've still got the rumor about IndyCars coming back to Richmond. So there again, maybe that would be kind of interesting. And you run a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I don't know where you'd put everybody. That's the thing is, where do you pit everyone on in a facility that size? I think it's got to be a big
track. Like you'd have to have like a Talladega
Charlotte could
track.
do it. Talladega could do it because what you do is if you're NASCAR, you give the other series the week. You either put them somewhere else or don't run them that weekend. It's just Cup and IndyCar. That's it.
I know
when
Texas runs when they ran the triple header last year in November for the Chase weekend, they had the Cup garage, the Xfinity garage, and then they had like a big open parking lot in the infield next to the Xfinity garage, and that's where they parked all the haulers for the truck guys. So they were all like side by side by side.
Yeah, I mean you could do that. I guess if you wanted to run the trucks, you could make that work. But it's interesting to think about it, and I do think that I will say this: I know that NASCAR is going to make big sweeping changes in 2021. I mean, again, more short tracks. You'll see a couple more road courses and. I mean, you're just going to see some major stuff happening, and I like what the rumors I'm hearing. So we'll see. Jacob, it's time for you to close up the deal and take us out of here.
All right. Well, it's been fun. I hate when 2 hours goes quickly because it means I just want a third hour to do even more. But thanks, as always, to our partners, specifically with this show, our presenting partner with HMS Motorsport, as well as mycomputercrew.edu and strutmasters.com for everything they do to make this show and our sister show, Motorsports Madness, possible. And, gosh, I guess we have to come back and do it all again in a week, don't we?
Yes, we
Next
do.
Monday,
of course, we'll be back on Thursday night with Motorsports Madness.
Right.
You will be gone, but Randy and I will be here. And,
yes, please hold down the fort safely for me.
Okay.
But
real quick, say goodnight.
I could make the joke, but I'm not going to. For Tom Baker, Randy Miller, Chris Murdoch behind the glass, who's urging us to get out of here, I'm Jacob Seelman. Keep it off the wall, and if you're headed to a racetrack, we might just see you there. Have a safe racing weekend. Good night.
You've been listening to Lead Lap Radio, powered by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety. You can find them on the web at hmsmotorsport.com. Lead Lap Radio is a Race Chaser Media production. For more exciting and passionate motorsport content, follow Race Chaser Media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and visit racechasermedia.com. The opinions expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff, management, affiliates, or marketing partners of Race Chaser Media. No part of this show may be reproduced in any manner without the expressed written consent of Race Chaser Media. Thank you for listening.